where they discuss the secrets of transformation and how to build bold confidence and unwavering resilience. From intimate conversations with inspiring guests to sharing their personal journeys of triumph and challenge, Simone and Olivia create a supportive space where every woman is encouraged to rise above her fears and love the woman in the mirror. Tune into Her Unshakable Confidence and join this special journey of connection and growth. It's like catching up with old friends who inspire you to be bravely and uniquely you.
Welcome to Her Unshakeable Confidence. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego.
And today we are going to be talking about legacy. And if you're watching the video, you can probably see the pin that I'm wearing. And the pin is a symbol of Lion of Judah, and it represents a piece of national women's philanthropy. And basically, it's a certain giving level within Jewish federations that you give to support Jewish life throughout the world. And it's something that's really important to me. And so I'm part of a group in Sarasota called Lions on the Loose. And yes, that is a super fun name. But one of the things we're working on is really teaching women how to express their legacy, including the lion behind the pin. So the pin, yeah, it's a piece of jewelry, but it's so much more than that. It's not just a piece of jewelry. I mean, it's pretty, but it's what it symbolizes and all the work that goes behind it that really matters.
I have one thing to say, or two things to say. First of all, you're saying all this and you haven't updated your pin.
I did update my pin.
Oh, okay. I can't see it. You did?
Yeah, I did. It's
okay.
All the years it's updated. Don't you
good.
worry, girl.
The last time I saw it, she did not have it updated. And one of the special parts about the Lion of Judah pin is that every year, depending on your giving level, and it gets a little addition to it, and through a colored stone.
Yeah, so that the eye color changes based on your giving level, but then additionally, you put like a little diamond in there for every year that you give. And I've seen some women that their whole pin is just covered in diamonds because they've been giving forever. Mm-hmm. And it's such a cool thing. Again, people are like, oh, jewelry, but it's not about that.
So cool. I was just reading a story about the sentimentality behind objects. And when it comes to inheritance, how we tend to forget that we think of a piece of jewelry as just that, like, oh, my mother wore that, this was her favorite thing. But you don't remember the memories that are attached to an object like that. And in particularly this pin, the years of work that went into it. Which is why the whole initiative in where you are started, because people were finding these pins on eBay and at garage sales rather than in someone's family jewelry box.
Yeah, so it actually started in Memphis, and that was exactly what happened. They found a couple of pins on eBay, and you can't just buy these pins somewhere. I mean, no. I guess you can buy them on eBay now, but that's not what we want. I mean, this is about giving to your community. And so it recognizes your giving, your philanthropic work. And the women that found them on eBay were so upset, validly so, because it just means that the person's family didn't get it, that they didn't know their wishes. And it's interesting because a lot of times we don't talk about giving with our children. No. And I think it's such a huge topic. And especially when it comes to my legacy, like, I don't want this pin ending up on eBay or in a garage sale or in an estate sale. Mm-hmm. I have put in so many years of my life, not just with giving, but with not financial giving, but
community involvement.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a big piece of it. And the women that I've met and interacted with over the years, that's such a big piece for me, the memories of it. Like you said, like there is huge value for this, and not because it's a gold pin. It's because of everything that went in since I got this pin, all of the work that's been put in, and yes, financially, but the collaboration with other women around the world to create a strong Jewish community. And for me, I just want to make sure that all of my kids know how important, I mean, we've talked about it at length, but all the kids know how important this is for me, that it is something that you guys understand why it's so important to me.
Why is it important for you to give?
Oh, it's just strengthening the world. I mean, it's all about tikkun olam, making the world a better place. So I'm going to say strengthening the Jewish world, but for people who are listening, that for the women who are listening to this that aren't Jewish, I mean, whatever cause you give to, you really want your kids to know about it, so that, not to say that your kids are going to give the same way that you do, but I think a lot of times when our family realizes how important something is to us, they will continue it, but not if we don't talk about it.
Yeah, I think it's a really special initiative. One of my favorite things about the Line of Judah pin is that each communities is a bit different,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
which I find just like a cool sense of a collaboration, that like, okay, you have something in common with so many other women across the globe, but you also have a bit of uniqueness that keeps you close to home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I can look at someone else's pin and say, "Oh, I know where you're from," but you do look at it. Well, some of them actually, someone like Texas has the shape of Texas on it, which sounds about right, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing. But you do see, like, it is community building right there, something that brings you together. And, the Lion Behind the Pin initiative is really so that women can ensure that their family and generations to come know what they did, like
Yeah.
why what they did in their life was so important to them, and that they hope that their family will continue that piece of their legacy. And it's really interesting to see, obviously the way people do things these days. I mean, some people write things down, some people record something, some people just talk to their children about it. And then there's women that don't have children. So, but having people around you that know, or that you make a commitment that this pin will go as a gift to somebody when you're no longer here. And that to me is just really important.
So, how do we, with our changing world, keep up with the idea of legacy?
Well, I think that there'll always be legacy if you talk about it, right? I mean, some people do it financially, where they name a building, they give enough and the building is named after them. But for a lot of people, it's the stories behind what they do. And, it's so interesting because recently I've just been like on this hunt for more information about my family, my parents, my grandparents, and my great grandparents, all of the above, just trying to figure out, because, from that generation, there wasn't so much that was kind of passed down for different families, yes, but a lot of families that lost family members in the Holocaust, or if they were survivors of the Holocaust, a lot of people didn't want to talk about it. So I remember asking your grandfather, tell me more about your parents' story. And he didn't know that much because he didn't ask the questions. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces about legacy, is asking the questions of the people around you, of your parents, your grandparents, so that you understand what they did with their lives. I mean, my dad didn't understand why they had moved from Germany to Israel. I mean, obviously they were escaping from the Nazis, but
Mm-hmm.
he didn't know exactly how that came about. And fortunately, he did save a lot of papers. And I can say that's one thing about my parents is, I mean, I have my mother's kindergarten grade report. I mean, she
Yeah.
saved everything. I have her flight hours when she was learning how to fly when she was a teenager. I mean, so those things I think are so important. And I was thinking about that the other day, that I should really make sure that I keep the things that I want you guys to see later. I mean, some of the stuff, forget about it, but anyway, so I was looking through my dad's papers and I found a couple of cards with my grandparents' name on it, and it was from something called Hechalutz. And so when I looked it up, that was for the agricultural resettlement of the land of Israel. And basically, they left Germany in 1935 because they were very involved in this group and they had to escape.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went to Italy to learn how to farm before going over to Israel. And the document says Hechalutz, and the document says where they were going in Italy. And I was like, this is why you went. And he's like, I never had any idea. I really didn't know how we ended up there. And I thought, this is part of legacy, is making sure that we tell our stories and we share our cool documents. I mean, another fun thing that I have is the their visa that says Jewish Agency for Palestine with a picture of my grandfather on it, and it has my grandmother's name also and my dad's name. And so they got that visa under the British white paper quota, which I had learned about. But when I found the visa, I was like, okay, this is amazing. Like, to really understand their history. And part of the reason that I give is because I want to make sure that, well, multifaceted, but I want to make sure that there is always going to be a strong Jewish world, that we fight anti-Semitism, we fight Jew hatred, we make sure that there is a great world for you guys, right?
I think I really want to highlight the idea of living legacy here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what you talked about before, that people get so uncomfortable or just they're unwilling to talk about the past. And it leads to this gaps in our knowledge and gaps in history almost. But I see it but I see it with you and your Jewish family and what happened during the Holocaust, but I also see it from Dad's family who isn't Jewish, it's a similar sentiment. We have no idea really why. Well, we have some idea what happened, but like we don't really know how my grandfather got here and what led him to the different parts of the country that he was in. And only after his death did I really kind of understand how cool of a human being he was, not just how cool of a grandparent he was, and how, like, on Dad's side, like my grandparent or my grandfather like knew George O'Keeffe and like created the first like the college library in New Mexico. Like he founded that. And there's so many things that I would not have known about. And honestly, that Dad probably didn't know about until reviewing these files. And it's kind of a shame that happened, that had to happen after he passed.
It goes back to really not asking questions and not being willing to talk about things. And that's a hard thing, because sometimes when people have an experience that is so traumatic, they don't want to talk about it. And I understand it. But that when I started asking my dad questions, it was like, he's like, I wish I would have asked my parents more. He's like, I just didn't think it was okay to ask. And I said, did you ever even try? And he said, no.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's the difference, is that
I think there's a dual-sided message to put out there. First of all, whoever's listening, go ask your parents or your family members, whoever you have out there. And then on the opposite end of that, don't wait till your kids and your grandkids start asking questions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that really, when we're talking about legacy and when we're talking about the things that are important to us, it should be a constant conversation with our kids. And I mean, from the volunteer work that I've done, that I made it a priority. I mean, there were many times where I didn't show up to things for you guys because I was doing volunteer work and I was chair of an organization. And I think that that's a really good thing. Like, I think we want our kids. Yeah, I think we want our kids to see that. And I think it's been really important for our family, especially being a multicultural family, to see that when something's important to you, you do it and you make sure everybody around you knows why it's important to you.
Absolutely. I also feel like people tend to forget that we are the accumulation, how do you say that word?
I don't know what you're asking me
Annihilation.
for.
I don't know. I don't know the word I'm looking for. I don't even know if it's a real word. But we're the sum of all of our parts. We are our experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe you think this little thing in your life didn't actually have that cool, like, big of a difference, but to someone else, to your kid, they might find that so incredibly interesting and so fascinating. And it could also explain why you are the way you are. I feel like we tend to define ourselves just by our careers rather than the other experiences that happened around us.
Yeah, and I think it's everything. I mean, what you said, whatever word you were trying to figure out there, girl, I have no idea. But
That's fair.
yeah, but it really is that combination. And so really kind of to wrap it up, I really want to make sure that at the end of the day, this pin stays within our family for generations to come, because it really does. It means so much to me, because it's all the things that matter, including family, kind of tied up into one space where, it's really just about making the world a better place. And I hope that you take away the passion that I have for it and do something like that in your life. And the same with all of your siblings, that it's whatever you choose, but to always make sure that you're thinking about how you can make the world a better place.
That was very sweet, Mom.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. So that's wrapping it up for today. Thank you for joining us on this week's different kind of episode of Her Unshakable Confidence. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Her Unshakable Confidence with Simone and Olivia Knego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Simone Knego and at Olivia Knego. Till next time.